Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Selectmen's meeting of August 7th, 2018. Let's see. Roll call, please.
All 5 selectmen are present this evening.
Well, Rose, you can do the Pledge of Allegiance today.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Rose. Okay. Patrick, any announcements?
You want to ask them first?
No, okay.
All right, I have these, you wrote these in, you can read them. I'll do these if you want.
Yeah, do that one, then we'll
Okay.
go back with everybody else.
All right, Wareham Police Association, in conjunction with the Wareham Police Department, will sponsor the first annual Public Safety Night. The event will be held on Saturday, September 8th at the Wareham High School track. It doesn't say what time, but it says night, so it's probably, what, 7 o'clock?
I think it's actually late afternoon they do that. They
Well,
would
we're
set
going to
up-
have to
Everybody
get
check
a
that.
We'll have to
time.
get a time then.
We'll get a time, we'll clarify it. Sorry, folks.
This is the
There'll be
second
no
one they do.
selectmen's meeting on August the 21st and September the 4th. August 21st and September the 4th. Peter, you meet me at Tremont?
Yep,
Go ahead.
I'll do that now. Meet me at the Tremont event. You'll hear more about that later because we have 2 fine ladies here seeking a liquor permit for the thing, which I hope will grant them so we can all have fun. Anyway, that's from 5:30 till 8:30, Saturday, August 25th.
That's not,
Tickets are $35 a piece, and for your $35, you will get delicious food from the Minkle Boys Catering. There's a dessert firm that's also providing the desserts. Gateway Goodies is providing the desserts. Music by Daddy-O, which is a 50s cover band.
Oh, wow.
The Garden Club is providing record bouquets, and you're going to have to come and see what those are. And let me see, what else? What am I omitting here? We have a potter who's going to come out and actually create pottery during the event. Tickets are available at the Cape Cod Canal Region Chamber of Commerce's website. Also, the Gallery Consignment Shop on Main Street. And you can also reach out to me individually, and I can get you tickets as well.
all right, let me, I got the thing here for the public safety. It says Public Safety Night, but it's really Public Safety Afternoon, because it's 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, September 8th. That's 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., and it's at the high school track, okay?
Well, it's
Public
night
Safety
somewhere.
First one. I'm sure it'll be a gas. They're usually pretty good at putting stuff together like that.
Just, I think actually they've done one of these before, a couple of years ago.
I thought they did over at Wareham Crossing.
We used to do the National Night Outs, and those were down at Lopes Field and Onset, so I
Yes.
think that's, which actually I think was just this past, like, was it yesterday or something, the National Night Out was? It was just within the past few days that
Yeah, they had
that
an-
activity took place, so.
They had another one also. Tony, you have anything?
No, I'm all set, thank you.
Mary?
I do have
Okay.
one other thing.
Peter's got me for the Tremont. Cape Verdean Festival, which everybody knows about in Onset, will be this coming Saturday. I believe you can get there as early as 8 a.m. Food usually starts closer to 10. Parking is available over at the Heinz, plus the other places around town. Traffic will be extremely difficult during that day and Saturday in that area. We usually get a range of between 20 and 25,000 people on that Saturday if the weather holds, which I hope it does. So plan carefully, because if you're traveling in the area, even if you're not going there, it's going to affect where you go and how you go. It's really a fun event, so hopefully people take advantage. Also, the OBA, we have a list, but we don't really publicize very much. Every Wednesday night, they have a nice music event about 6:30 at night. For most of us, we have other meetings to go to, so we don't get there. But I'd just like the town to understand that it's a really unique thing. If you want to donate, you can. If you don't want to give them any money, that's okay. Might frown at you, that's about it. But we really should participate in that. It's a really unique thing for the summer. They also have chalk festivals, kite flying. There's a lot of things. So check the website and take advantage of what's offered, because it's not every community that can do this. And also, just as a quick note, the Blues Festival was last Saturday. For those of us who worked the festival, it was a really unique experience to get wet and drown, among other things. My sneakers actually started foaming. I've never seen that happen before. I'm going to have to go back to sketches and find out what they put in the material. So I'm hoping that maybe they'll consider coming back in September and doing another blues event to try and make up. They may have broke even, they may not have, but this is a major fundraiser for the group, so I'm hoping we can find a way to get them back on track. That's it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, this is regarding an issue that's, we've talked about for years and years and years, and relates to the Parker Mills Dam, which is the dam that one wall of Tremont Nail sits on, holds back the big body of water that runs under Cranberry Highway and goes back up the river towards Tyhonet Village. Over the years, we've been working with the ADA Makepeace Company to try to determine ownership of the dam and to ascertain who owns it, who's responsible for its repair. It has been classified by the state as a high-hazard dam. Back in 2013, I think we had an estimate of $1.5 million to repair the dam. We did even receive $1 million in funding from the state. Most of it was in the form of a loan. Only about 13% of it was in the form of a cash grant. We never spent that money, and there were a lot of questions about why we didn't spend that money. Why didn't we go ahead and fix the thing? Why didn't we get Elm Street back open? And the reason for that is that some research was done, and it's the belief of the town that we own at most a 25% or possibly less stake in the dam, and that the AD Makepeace Company actually owns the majority stake in the dam. None of us here wanted to go to jail for expending public funds on somebody else's dam, so we've held off. We did have several meetings with the AD Makepeace Company about this. I won't say that the relationship with them has soured over this. We did have to understand that their position for years, decades even, and what they had even believed internally was that we had owned the dam. So when we did the research and it came to light that, in our opinion, they're mostly responsible for it, they're not in a position to go to their board of directors and tell them that they have to go fix the dam. They need something more concrete than just a title expert that we hired telling them that. And with that in mind, we did let them know about a year ago that we would probably end up going to court over this. And this week there will be a complaint for declaratory judgment filed in the Plymouth Superior Court, and it will ask essentially the court to review the title documents in the dam. What typically happens in a case like this, where it's fairly technical, the judge will appoint a master in the case, somebody who's a title expert in their own right, to go through the paperwork, to go through the submittals of the parties. It's not a courtroom case where there's going to be a jury and people screaming at each other and drama on TV. It's usually handled very quietly and fairly quickly. Only in this way can we get to the end of the road here, figure out who owns the dam, and get going on it. If it's us, if we have an ownership stake in it, then we're going to have an obligation to do something. If it's them and they have the ownership stake, they're going to have to do something. My sense is that both parties are going to have some of it, and at that point we're going to have to go forward and negotiate a solution, because it does remain a high-hazard dam. And the state has exercised some forbearance here for quite a while in terms of making somebody fix it, but they're not going to do that forever, and frankly, we can't wait forever. It is a public safety issue. It's an issue that impedes the development of the Tremont Nail Factory complex. It's hard to get people who want to come in there if they think they might get washed out by a wall of water, and I can understand that. So, we're proceeding with this. Personally, I think myself, Alan, everybody sitting up here at one point or another has had interactions with the AD Makepeace Company. It's been a fairly amicable relationship with them. This shouldn't change that. It doesn't from our perspective. This is just a technical thing that we have to figure out so we can move on. So I just wanted to get that announcement out there.
Thank you. Just so people understand, there's no such thing as a friendly lawsuit, but this is about as close as we come. We've been working on this, actually myself, probably 6 or 7 years, questioning who owned the dam, and responsibility was always the town. And from my point of view, I didn't really believe that from day one. I kept pushing. We finally got a legal opinion that was a real question, whether we owned any of the dam at all, because the purchase of the Tremont Nail Factory was the factory, not the street or anything that was included. So we'll try and get this done. We have long-term project ideas for the area. You know, we had a historic park and a bunch of things for the overall area, and we can't do anything. We had to give back the $1 million because as Peter said, we couldn't use that money since we didn't own it. And we need to get a final disposition of the property so we can move forward. Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
citizens' participation.
Go ahead, dear.
Hi, Diane Arrington, 24th Street in Onset. I was here last week. I told you I'd be back. I guess the first thing I want to ask is, I know that Mr., is it Tropiano? Went to Onset last week. We had a discussion. He went over, he took a ride around, and he sees what the situation is over there. Did anyone else go over to Onset and take a ride around and see?
I go through Onset every day,
Okay.
so it's not necessary.
So you've been up and down all the streets and you've seen,
I probably travel more than one of the residents do.
okay. Did anyone else have a chance to go over? You went over
Yes.
and saw it? Okay.
I didn't go up and down every street, but I,
Okay. Did you notice the condition of the village
yes.
and the Blythe? I know that the town of Wareham just got $875,000.
Nothing to do with that.
Nothing to do with
I
it.
understand that, but is there going to be, are you going to get some money for the village of Onset?
Let me make a comment so you understand better where you're at with this. The grant that we get, they basically come before, what used to be CEDA, which will be whatever goes forward. That grant, they come before the public, and they have public hearings, and people bring up what they would like to see done with the money. I've never, in at least the last 5 years that I know of, anybody from the Onset community ever come up and make a suggestion for anything for that money, just so you know.
Well,
So what you're asking for is available, but it's never happened.
I will say this also, you can't use that community development block grant fund for just routine road maintenance. That includes repair and replacing
I'm not
roads.
talking just routine road maintenance, although, as I just told Mr. Tropiano,
We can't use that money to hire people to
the road on 4th
fill-
Street hasn't been paved since the 1970s, so we're talking over 50 years since the road's been paved. And as I told him earlier, and I said last week, my husband hasn't been able to go out all summer because he can't use the sidewalks or the streets because of his handicap condition. But I did go around last week, just so that people would know, and did you everyone get these in the mail?
Yeah, we saw your emails.
Okay, so I'll pass these out so that everyone here can see what the Village of Onset looks like, because it truly is, it's a mess, it's a disgrace.
I will say this.
Yes.
In addition to looking at quite a few of the streets in Onset, I also went up to Shangri-La. I also went over to Swiss Beach.
So you went to Onset last week?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And one point I wanted to make, you did indicate, you noted that there were some patches that were put in before the race. We do that every year. I don't know if you were aware of that.
I wasn't aware of it, and he said it wasn't the selectmen that did it, it wasn't my
Yeah,
comments
yeah.
here, it was done.
Yeah, they go out there
I
just for the
happened to
safety.
think- That's why I said thank you to you.
Yep.
I just happened to think it was because I was here, mentioned it, people might have called municipal maintenance. But there are homes that have been vacated. My granddaughter said to me today, she said, Grammy, she said, isn't that the home, she said, that says $5 on it? There's a home on the corner of 9th Street and West Boulevard that's been vacated for probably 15 years.
I could take you to Swiss Beach and show you some as well.
I agree with this, but my question is, what is the town, what are the selectmen going to do about these blighted areas?
Well, I can
about
tell you,
these
I can tell you, what,
Streetlights, we have no, our
right, if
streetlights-
you let me finish one thing at a time.
Yes, I will. Let me finish, too, because I've been on this for probably 15 years. Our streetlights don't work, our streets are a mess, our sidewalks are a mess.
Regarding blighted,
Need help.
I just want to start with one thing here, and the others can comment as they wish. Regarding blighted properties, notwithstanding that you and I can drive by and say, my God, look at that piece of crap. That's in my neighborhood, it's dragging my property values down. People still have property rights. We do have a very active Director of Inspectional Services. We have an active health agent. They go to court continually. They spend just about every Monday in housing court trying to get people to clean up their properties. Our town council has been spending a lot of time on these things. I'm trying to get him to do work for us, and he's telling me, I can't, I gotta go to housing court. So it's not that these these properties are ignored, but it takes years, literally, to condemn a property and to get it torn down. To get a property owner to fix it up might take you 7 or 8 appearances in court before the judge finally says, okay, I get it, here's an order, you got to clean it up. Then you got to go back on contempts, and you go back and forth and back and forth. Some of the properties you're seeing for 15 years, we've probably been fighting to clean up for 10. That's just the nature of the beast. That's what the law requires. They get to have their say in court. They get to make up excuses. They get to get continuances. They blow stuff off. That's the system. I can tell you that within the past year, we participated in a new program by the Attorney General where you could ask the state to review a list of properties that you would send in. They would declare a certain amount of them blighted, and you could participate in an accelerated program through the Attorney General's office to get the relief that you're seeking here, you know, to get them cleaned up, torn down, or whatever. We submitted 10 properties. Every single one of them was a POS, to put it bluntly. Only four got approved by the Attorney General's office to go forward with this stuff. So we're trying when it comes to the blighted properties, but the deck is stacked against us. It's stacked against us in the law. It's stacked against us in the right of the property owners. It's stacked against us in the court proceedings. It's stacked against us when they get continuance after continuance after continuance. Most of these people that have properties that are in terrible shape are in terrible shape themselves, and that's why their properties look that way, and the courts tend to be very lenient with them. So this is an ongoing fight.
Okay, when, I guess my question is, when are you going to pave the streets in Onset? It's been 50 years. Does anyone get that? It's a disgrace over there.
If you would like to put your comments in the book there, we'll get back to you. I can't answer, you know, we do not get involved directly with day-to-day.
I'll put my comments in the book. They've been going in the book year after year after year. I never get an answer, ever.
One thing you have to understand about road maintenance, too, there's a law in the books, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 90, that governs state, it covers roads in the whole Commonwealth, but in particular there's a section in there where the state has to give the town aid to repair roads.
Wareham keep getting all this aid. Why is downtown Wareham looking so pristine?
Because downtown Wareham had...
Streetlights. Our streetlight, we don't even have streetlights.
You had those improvements in Onset 25 years ago. That's when the streetscape went into Onset Village.
Do you think they last for... There's holes in them, there's no lights in them. When are we getting streetlights? For the safety of our children.
We have $35,000 budgeted for streetlights. You're probably thinking that all we have to do is repair bulbs. It's a lot deeper than that.
I know it's a lot deeper than that. They need to be replaced.
That's right.
You know, all the tax money, the big portion of the tax money with no pull from the schools comes from Onset. You've got Burgess Point, you've got all the way out.
Well, Burgess Point is an Onset. Respectfully, that's not part of Onset.
All out Onset Ave. None of those people have kids in school. None of them have kids in school. Onset is a disgrace. I can't believe, and I'm all for the Buzzards Bay Coalition, I'll tell you, and I have a question about that too, but I can't believe they want to spend millions of dollars in Onset when, who wants to go there? Who wants to go to Onset? It is awful.
Well, it's pretty hard to find a place to park there in the summer, so I guess some people want to go there.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's all the same people that live there. It's all the same people that want to live there.
Thank you.
I'll put my comments in the book, but I have a question to ask you.
We have to move on.
Let her ask
you a
question about the Buzzards Bay thing.
Go ahead.
I want to ask why they would want to go there, and I also want to ask why some of my neighbors who are not abutters to the bathhouse, and like I said, I am all for, I hope this thing goes through. I don't understand why the Conservation Committee last week didn't just run with it and go with it, but they didn't. They're going to continue it. Everything in this town gets continued. It's just like the thing over at Bay Point. That was continued for months and months and months and months and months. Everything here does. It just takes forever. But why is it being continued? And my number 2 question is, why did all my neighbors get an abutters notice? They don't even live near the bathhouse. Everyone around me, except for me, got an abutters notice that they abut the bathhouse. My brother got one for West Boulevard, okay? Not his address, it just says 0 West Boulevard. His neighbor got one, it said 0 West Boulevard. Why would they get a notice that they're abutters to the bathhouse? Do you know what this is gonna cause? The next hearing is gonna be a nightmare because there are so many people that don't want this, and you know it and I know it. It's going to be a nightmare. So I'd like to know
Actually, it's about the same 3 or 4 people that keep popping up at everything, so I would say the majority of people.
Since the notice came out, I know a lot of people that are upset about it.
Well, The interesting thing here is all the Conservation Commission has jurisdiction over is conservation issues. They're not going to get into title issues, they're not going to get into some...
Why did they get abutters notices?
Because if they abutted that parcel of land, which includes the entire beach, they would get a notice. That's the law. They have to get a notice.
Anyone that is in the circumference of Onset Beach?
Yes, anybody who borders Onset, that one parcel, which is the old, what the heck is the name of that? They all had names. One's William Park, that's where the band shell is. This is that one lot that's 7-something acres.
He doesn't about that. Who can I go to find out about that?
You can talk to the,
Assessor's office, they supply the list.
well, they supply the list, but in terms of what actually went out, you would probably want to talk to the conservation agent, because that would be in the conservation file.
Okay. And you got these pictures? You've seen these?
Yeah, you sent those, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Thanks. I know we don't have great answers for you,
You
but
don't have any answers. You've never had any answers at all, ever. I mean, I'm ready to put the for sale sign up on my property. I have a beautiful piece of property. I have a beautiful home. I keep it up. I just want it to look nice, and it just looks, in all honesty, it looks like shit. It does. It's awful. It's awful. It's the roads, the sidewalks, it's everything.
well, we do what we can with the budget we have, which is
Well,
not sufficient
obviously,
to the
you're not
needs.
doing a good job, because you
Well,
collect,
if you could-
I pay a big, big tax bill, and I get nothing for it, nothing. All I do is pay a parking, for my parking stickers, I have a 2-car driveway, I pay for my stickers so that my daughter can come down. I get nothing for my tax dollars in Onset, zippo, zero. Anyone care to see these? No? Anyone like to see these?
Okay,
All
we
right,
have
let's
a
move on.
public hearing.
Thank you.
Yeah, but we don't have proper notice. She's not even here.
Yes, she is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there you are. Come on down. Yeah.
Yep, come on down, Karen.
Do you have the cards?
Yes.
Could I have them, please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dress for? Okay.
That's the plan.
With the tent?
Sensei.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I knew what this is. Has the rest of the board seen this?
I didn't know if you needed it or not, so.
Not 10 days. They're no good.
What?
These notices are
Notice
no
was sent
good.
out the 2nd.
They went out August 2nd.
I told Janet this as well.
Today's the 7th. They have to go out 10 days ahead of time.
I told Janet, and she said to bring those.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's not good for the hearing.
Yeah, it's not going to work, and the fact that one of your butters isn't here kind of tells me that there's still an issue, so you're going to have to continue it again, right?
Anything we do can be overturned.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, I fixed, just so you know, you need to correct a couple things in your application too.
Okay.
For one, you didn't draw the property, like you have a picture of when you did the work, but you need to show the property and the tent, okay, on this. See how it has a white page here?
Yes.
Because the ABC wants to see that.
But what is that?
She did bring that along.
Oh, she just brought this?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that works.
Okay, this works fine, but it wasn't in the original, you know what I mean, in the document.
Okay.
The other thing is that I fixed the square footage requirements for you, because those weren't right either. But, let's see, what else did I have here? You know what that is all about?
That was just previous, just to show they had outside seating for the liquor. We'll get into that one.
Mr. Chairman, something I'd like to put on the agenda for next meeting is to come up with a guidebook for how to fill out these applications
Yeah,
and
we
what the
gotta have
requirements are,
something.
because, you know, if people go into the office, hi, can I have an application for so-and-so? Yeah, here, sure, here you go. You know, let's come up with something on the application that has a cover sheet for exactly what you're supposed to do, what the deadlines are. You know, for example, you know, they've tried, but they just don't know what the requirements are. And if
This is
we're not
perfect.
telling them, this is just going to keep
Sorry?
happening with the next person. So
This is actually perfect.
I'm going to buy stock in the U.S. Postal Service at the rate you're going.
No, right? So I have to redo
The
this over
sad
again.
part is I feel bad for you, because by the time you get the thing, summer's gonna be over,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I had the tent until the end of November.
Yeah, but you're missing a whole
Well, I know.
bunch of time.
We're going to be
you know?
drinking hot toddies out there by the time you're
I'd
done.
like to
All
see,
right.
I'd like to see you get this done.
Can I ask another question about
Go ahead.
possible music? I guess that would fall under entertainment license.
You need a separate
I would have to-
entertainment license, which would require its own public hearing, and you'd have to go through this whole process again.
I
Well,
would,
then maybe I should forget that.
I would suggest you
Stick with this first.
contact your abutters ahead of time.
10
Ask
days.
about that.
No, for that one, yeah.
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 10
'Cause that's kind of upping the level there a little bit,
When
just
she
saying.
notices the meeting, right, the next day you gotta have these cards out.
Okay.
Because she does it 2 weeks ahead of time.
Yeah, we have
So you
to
have 2 weeks.
So
that
what we're
means
gonna-
if you don't
Well,
do
a
it
week
right
and a
away,
half,
then
But yeah,
they
okay.
have to go out the next day.
Well, they didn't, and I asked her about that today through email,
Yeah.
and she said that those would suffice.
No, what she
No,
told, I
because
talked to
they're
her,
entitled to
actually.
10 days' notice.
I
So-
talked to her, and she says, you said you sent them out on Wednesday,
Yes.
and Wednesday's not long enough.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, I wish,
okay.
I wish we could help you, I really do.
I'll get it sooner or later.
I'm feeling so bad for you, it's
Right?
crazy.
That's okay. The next available date where we could hold the hearing would be the 28th in order to provide the proper publication
Yeah.
and to allow you to get the notice out.
Okay.
So if I were you, I would get in there tomorrow, fill out the application again, and we'll get
Use
it
the
on.
one that I filled out, because I've made the corrections.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
ask her to look at that when
I
you
will
fill it
ask
out,
Janet.
please.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and then that way, the 28th, make sure you get the stuff mailed out by the 18th. So I would suggest that as soon as the first publication takes place, you get the,
Publications go out on Thursday.
yeah, they go out on Thursday. So if you're in tomorrow, things get, well, they won't be in time until next week.
She has to get out by
So,
Tuesday.
yeah, next Tuesday, Janet will send in the notice to the newspaper.
Okay,
And so you want to, you literally want to get cracking on that ASAP.
I will contact or go see Janet tomorrow myself.
Okay, yep,
Thank you, guys.
sorry,
We don't want to,
Peter.
Copy of that somehow, the site plan?
why don't you give it back to them?
I can give it back, and you can bring it back in
Is
the
that
thing.
okay?
Yeah,
Because I don't know how many of
Give
you
them the
have.
whole,
All right, no, that's fine. I'll give it back to you.
give them the whole application.
And then you can, and matter of fact, I can give you this whole application if you want.
Are you sure?
Yeah, okay? Yeah, because you're gonna have to make out another one. But bring that with you and get it done.
If we go for a fourth one, you set a record.
See, it tells you what floor you're on, how many square feet, the whole thing. Just follow what I did, you'll be fine.
I'll just make a general observation for the public at large out there. This is why people sometimes hire lawyers for this stuff.
Yeah,
Just saying. Just saying.
unfortunately, lawyers have gotten involved in this stuff, so.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so,
I'd like to go ahead and,
open these hearings.
no,
I'm going to do the one day first.
I'm going to take care of
All right,
Patriots, Bartender, whatever the charity event, I think it
all right,
is.
which one do you want?
Actually, no, the Chamber of Commerce, E.
Meet the tree man.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, come on up, ladies.
Yeah. Sometimes they are. It'll go.
Okay, so, you're missing the insurance binder and the tips, and you're gonna get that to us, right?
Tip should be in there. That was sent to Janet this afternoon.
It wasn't here earlier, so, oh, wait a
Here
minute,
it is, isn't it?
no.
Yep,
Oh, yeah,
that's it.
tips. Okay, so tips is here. So we just
The
need
insurance is an interesting one. Actually, Maria Oliva, who's the president and CEO of the chamber, which is the applicant here, reached out to me. Apparently, in the past, she's been able to just get binders at no charge from her insurer, but those were for private events where this involves public sale of tickets and so forth. The insurance company said, oh, wait a minute, we need to charge you X amount of money. So she's in the process of getting that, so we would make the motion conditional on receipt.
Okay, that's fine. All
But
right,
it is in the pipeline.
Yeah, it is.
that's fine. We can do that. All right.
You want to go ahead and explain the event again anyways?
Absolutely.
And who are you anyway?
Make sure you use Peter's heading for what you guys
We're the
are.
T-Nags,
God.
as we're so known, the Tremont Nail Advisory Group, which is myself, Tracy Medeiros, Rose Berry, and Maria Oliva. We work in conjunction with Peter and Ken Buckland, and this event is going to be the second annual Meet Me at the Tremont. We're looking forward to having Daddy-O play, and we'll have some dancing, dress in 50s if you like. You don't have to, but it'd be fun. We also have Minkle Boys Catering with a great buffet planned, as well as Gateway Goodies, kind of a opening for her business. We want to try to promote local businesses, local music. We do have a potter. She's not local, she's from Pecasset, but who knows, in the future, with our vision plan, maybe we'll have a local potter. But she'll be there spinning her pottery, and she has a partner who'll be decorating, and you can purchase her items if you choose, or she can make you something that you're looking for if you have something in mind in particular. And we also have some great in-process centerpieces from the Garden Club. And what did you call them? Record bowls, record centerpieces, but they'll be interesting, and we'll have a little bidding war for those. So 50/50 raffle, great late summer evening out, $35 a ticket, photo booth with some 50s inspired props, so you can take advantage of that. And it's a great evening out, cash bar,
Free parking.
free parking. And it's a great event. We look forward to it.
We have priority parking for custom cars.
You can definitely bring some classic cars. I may be bringing mine, just kind of for some ambiance.
You're going to park it on the dance floor?
No.
Okay,
They get scratched that way.
probably would. And Rose?
Hello. Yes.
Hi.
Looking forward to the second annual. As Tracy said, she's covered it all. Should be a great night. There will be a cash bar, plenty of dancing, and raffle, so come have some fun.
And
Great.
support the Chamber's Scholarship Fund, which last year was very productive. There'll be a picture of Marie presenting checks to both Upper Cape for a Wareham student and also Wareham High. So,
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
you're
Great.
welcome.
Go ahead, Patrick.
I move we approve the application of the Cape Cod Canal Regional Chamber of Commerce for the one-day liquor license beer and wine to Meet Me at the Tremont event to be held Saturday, August 25th, 2018, between the hours of 5 p.m. and 10 p.m.
Second.
Motion by Patrick, second by Tony. We also need to add the condition of the insurance binder being available.
Yes.
That's understood.
Any questions from the board?
Nope.
None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And tickets are available at capecodcanalchamber.org website or at the Gallery Consignment Shop during business hours.
Or you can hit up myself or Mr. Buckland if you see us on the street.
Yeah, Ken has 5 or 6 left.
Thank you.
You wanna
Great.
do these
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
while we're at it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so they're not here, so I'm just going to do them, okay? I move we approve the application of Paul Rose for 2 one-day liquor licenses to be held on Sunday, August 19th, from noon to 7 p.m., and Saturday, August 25th, 2018, from noon to 6 p.m., to be held in the Onset VFW Pavilion at 4 Gibbs Park Road for beer and wine license.
Motion by Patrick, second by Peter. Any questions from the board? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
I got one more, right?
Yep.
Next, I have another one by Paul Rose for August 19th for the all-alcoholic license for a nonprofit for, let's see, when is it? August 19th, between noon and 7. Isn't this the same one?
Yeah,
These are the
just read
same
it.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You read it off the sheet with the 2
Yeah,
separate.
I got two, no, I got 2 folders, though.
Yeah, there would be.
They're signing it over there now.
One for the 19th and one for the 25th.
Oh, how do you like that? We got 2, those are the, there's, you have,
That was the,
that's the same thing, we got 2 of them.
Okay.
We doubled up. We got doubles, it's all right.
I doubt we got double.
Hey.
Doublemint, huh?
Doubles are better than none, right?
Okay.
All right, so now we can go backwards if you want to
Oh, we
the
still,
second-hand dealer license.
don't we have an application for Patriot Bartending for September 8th?
No,
no, that wasn't.
Yeah. Not yet, I'm questioning something else. We already voted Claire on the first time around.
I just had 2, where did you see Patriot Bartender?
Wait a
Right
minute.
here.
Application of Patriot Bartender. Could I see that file just to be sure?
Yeah,
It's in there somewhere.
Effective dates.
Meet me at Tremont.
Yeah,
That one's all set.
this is
Let
Paul
me have this
Rose.
one again.
Take a look at that one.
See if there's another one in here, maybe?
See if it's different.
These are Paul, Rose. These are,
All rolls.
this
Those
is
are the 2 that we voted on.
those are the 2.
And that's the Patriot bartending, so you need all 3.
All right, here we go.
There it is. It wasn't duplicate.
All right, we do have it. Well, see, we've got this one in here, too. All right. All right, so let's do, let's see, 17 Sleepy Hollow Drive in Plymouth.
It wasn't my senior moment this time.
Yeah, it was mine. Patriot Bartending Services for an event on August the 7th, no, excuse me, September the 8th,
Yes.
between 6 and 11 p.m. at the Tremont Nail Factory for a beer and wine license. I move we approve the one-day license.
Second.
Motion by Patrick, second by Mary. Any questions on the board? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
These are the same ones, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, duplicate services, but whatever. Sign 'em all.
Okay, next what we have is 2 items which we are going to, one, we're going to postpone until next week, which is the hearing, not the hearing, but the actual secondhand license for Gateway Golden Pond. We'll put that on next week. I want to open the hearing for the pond license for Gateway Golden
You
Pond.
have to open both of them, though.
No, the
Well,
other...
only one's a hearing.
no, one's-
Oh, one's a
Oh,
hearing,
You
okay.
don't have to.
All right.
So on the second one, I'd like to open the hearing and then continue it till next week
Okay.
due to Mr. Bowen not being here, et cetera. We already contacted the owner of Gateway Pond, let them know ahead of time that there was going to be an issue. So let's make a motion to...
So we need a roll call vote?
Oh, we need a motion first to open the hearing, don't we? And then a roll
So
call vote.
moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Motion by Peter, second by Tony. Tony? Yes, no?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Yes.
Peter? Alan, yes. Okay, at this particular point in time, I need a motion to continue the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Tony?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Patrick? Peter?
Yes.
Alan, yes. Thank you.
Right.
You know, if this was a hearing, there should have been a butters, and
Yeah, there
Just
should be.
saying.
Yeah, I know.
there's no butters.
Yep.
Just saying.
We'll put a note in there for Janet. It could have been also with the lawyers, I don't know.
It should have been, but it wasn't, so we're gonna have to deal with that, too.
Yeah, I signed that.
The last one that we have to deal with
Spacey day today, huh?
is, the last thing to deal with is town business.
Yep.
Discussion of potential fall meeting articles.
It's on the agenda.
Oh, no,
It
no,
says
no,
6
no,
and 10, yeah.
but it just says discussion for potential full-time warrant.
We'll initial.
Yeah,
only.
just initials.
Scribner's error, we'll take care of it. All right.
Excuse me.
Fine, that's a
Okay,
one-day license.
The question on this is if the board has any articles that the board would like to bring forward for town meeting, because we want to get these done ahead of time. I don't want to sit there at last minute and put placeholders in, because it causes confusion. A lot of times the not proper work is done in the beginning, so when we get it to town meeting, it's like last minute. It creates issues so people don't know what's happening. So my question is, Tony, do you have anything you want to bring forward? Mary?
I don't.
You wanted to do sign bylaw?
I do. I want to do some corrections on that, but I think I'd like to just send it to the planning board
That's the way it has to be.
and let them do the corrections with our suggestions.
Do you want each member to look at it and send something back to
I
you?
think that's a good idea.
All right, I would ask that the members look at the sign bylaw. I think it's number 1510, if I remember right, on the zoning bylaws, that section there, and just go through and take a look and see if you have anything that hasn't been a problem, could be a problem, or whatever.
Yeah, because
And
we've
forward that to
definitely
Patrick.
had some issues that we need to resolve.
Yeah, there could be no discussion when you forward that, just basically simply saying, I have an issue with this item or what it is, but no response back and forth. If we do that, we violate the open meeting law. Okay?
Well,
Peter,
wait
do
a
you have
minute.
anything?
if we don't have an issue, we don't have to respond.
Absolutely correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right,
But whatever you send me, I'm not going to discuss with anybody, and you shouldn't
Warrant
discuss it with
articles,
anybody either.
right, no, understood.
Oh, yeah, warrant articles. I mean, I know we had talked about perhaps having the Director of Planning take a look at the sign bylaw.
That's what
one
we
of
were
the
just
things.
talking about.
The other things, and I had mentioned this last week,
It's everywhere.
when I met with town council and the town moderator, the possibility of possibly having a town meeting bylaw study committee to look at the placement and regulation of solar facilities. Seems to be kind of a hot button issue with a lot of people, with a lot of the land that's being, you know, the trees are being cut down and the solar fields are being put in. And, you know, I don't know what the answer is, but perhaps if we put together a study committee to take a look at it, perhaps we could get a proper mix of reusing some of our buildings that have flat roofs and destroying less habitat. It's just a thought.
Why wouldn't you sell some of these buildings off?
This isn't a public hearing. You don't get to just show up and interject.
I believe what we need to do is also individually, we can look at the solar bylaws, because they did revise them
We
in the
did.
last year, and take a look and see what we got. I know Marion particularly went ahead and looked at the residential portion of the bylaws and wrote something up fairly new, very extensive, and we can look at that as well, but I believe they've already gone through that. I think the real issue is we have, I think it's initial project, I think it's Squirrel Island, where they're taking a huge amount of trees out, and the neighbors are all up in arms on that one. We had the one on Seth Toby Road, which is down past the mall and everything, and because of by right by Eversource, they were able to come in and clear it out without any input from the town whatsoever. And there is another project which may or may not be an issue that's basically down near the gravel pits off Route 25 highway. There's a company that's just come in the last week or so looking to put possibly 3 different solar fields out there, which doesn't affect any residential areas, but still there are trees all through these areas, and we're really starting to clear out animal habitat at a kind of an alarming rate. So we need to kind of figure out what we're going to do long-term, because we have a lot of areas with very inexpensive land, or land that can be leased at a very low value, and it makes it very easy for companies to come in to do these solar projects, even though the state has cut back on what we call the credits. It's not as financially advantageous as it used to be, but it's still pretty lucrative. So I would like to see something done there, simply because it's starting to hit us harder than most people in the area.
Okay.
I think we also, among other things, a couple things have come up we need to discuss, and nobody's going to be happy with this comment. The Municipal Maintenance Department actually was out on Main Street, down by the end of the village, where the historical Methodist Meeting House, et cetera, on the opposite side of the street. And I was watching the workers sitting there trimming back trees, bushes on private people's property so people could walk down the sidewalk. I've mentioned it before, even down where High Street comes into Chapel Street. There's an intersection there where the trees have overgrown, so you have to walk out into the street to walk by, which is wonderful, except cars are going by all the time. It's a good way to get hit. And there are areas in every area of Wareham that have these issues. Homeowners really don't, there's a lot of rentals, so the rental people don't think it's their responsibility. Obviously, the person who owns the property, they don't think it's their responsibility, and it's kind of got out of hand this year because of the warm weather. Even though we had a lack of rain, we had a lot of rain early this season, and I don't know about anybody else, but my garden and everybody else around me has a pretty heavy crop, and the greenery, if you want to call it that, is at an all-time high everywhere, and the growth coming out of the sidewalks and everything is at an all-time high. But when you have a tree that's coming up through the sidewalk and ripping the sidewalk apart, it is the responsibility of the homeowner. So I'd like to look, I know I come from the city, and of course there, you're responsible, any property owner, no matter whether it's commercial, retail, is responsible to keep their sidewalk clean. That means plowing, cleaning off snow, et cetera. Wareham has a whole bunch of rules about the sidewalks. It mentions snow, but it doesn't say the homeowner is responsible, the property owner is responsible to remove it. I think we should take a look at that as well. Again, it's going to be a contentious item, but something that, with a lack of funding, et cetera, you need to look at, because if you have someone in a wheelchair and they can't go down the sidewalk and they go out onto the street and get run over, it's a pretty sad thing. There was a young man about 3 or 4 years ago coming down Onset Ave, and he went out onto the street because he couldn't get by. The telephone pole, whatever else, had disrupted the sidewalk. He went out into the street and got run over and killed. So I'm going to ask if we can look at that as well. That's my comment for that. We're just filing papers here. Okay.
Yeah.
We do not have any discussion to vote on submitted warrant articles yet. Again, please, everybody get this stuff in. We are taking 2 weeks off, one because of the holiday, one because it's just August and you need a break. We've been going at this steady. Usually we meet only, on average, maybe no more than twice a month during July and August. I guess I've been, a little more demanding this past year. And we've really, I think, we've had one time off so far since I've been here as chair. Yeah, that was July 4th week, actually. So please get the articles in. We need to read them thoroughly. We need to make sure they're vetted properly, because at the end of the day, we're the ones that are responsible for putting it on the warrant. And I really don't like it when Mrs. Smith sits there and yells at me because the articles weren't vetted properly, which she does frequently. So please help out.
I move we accept the donation of the Wareham Animal Gift Account from Gretchen Grunzum,
Second.
How much was it for?
$200.
Motion by Patrick, second by Peter. Any questions from the board? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 500, sorry.
Obviously, there's no town administrator's report.
No.
No,
Liaison reports.
no,
Tony?
Nope.
Mary?
all set.
Peter? You had a meeting this afternoon?
Yes. Got a serious look.
Yeah, the redevelopment authority met this afternoon. Among the business discussed was the initiation of the legal action to determine ownership of the dam. We also discussed the generalized Chapter 21E, Section 4 and 4A demand letter that Attorney Bowen and I have been working on to send out to the former site operators, inviting them to join us in paying for the cleanup of the site, since they are the ones who skunked it back in the day. Also, what else did we do? We voted to put out a request for proposals for use of the sheet metal building. We talked about a potential town meeting article to rezone to allow more uses out at Tremont Nail. And I think that was kind of about it.
Did you have a meeting with the pottery person?
Yeah, that's true. We did have a woman who's made a proposal to come up with a pottery studio where people would pay subscriptions to be members. There would be a kiln, there would be wheels, so on and so forth. This woman comes from a set of similar programs in Rhode Island. There's one in Warren, I forget where the other town is where she's been involved in these things. And so it's a pottery co-op where people can come in and make their pottery. And they can also, apparently they sell their pottery at these places too, and it's a lot cheaper than opening a storefront to do that. They would get artisans on the site, which would be nice. And so she's going to come up with probably a response to a request for a proposal for use of what is called the packaging building, which is the one across sort of the alley from the freight building near the water. So we're looking forward to hearing more about that.
Brewery?
Brewery didn't come up.
Didn't show up? Okay.
Didn't come up.
Okay,
They weren't on the agenda anyway.
all right.
You're up.
I'm up. Let's see what we had this past week. Our Conservation Commission meeting, which was
You gotta make
mentioned.
that motion. I wasn't here.
Yeah, we haven't got it yet. It's number 12. The Conservation Commission meeting, basically, they had on the Buzzards Bay Coalition, the project itself obviously was initiated by Mark Rasmussen originally, and also actually myself and my wife were the ones that actually led this whole project from the start and brought it in. And the program has gone along. We've had some resistance for different issues, but again, for the Conservation Commission, their issues are strictly having to do with conservation, such as doing anything to the land as far as growth, et cetera, invasive species, whatever. The people brought up issues about blocking the view. I have to remind people that if you go back to just pre-1900, the bathhouse actually was 2 stories tall. And if you look at the bathhouse and the actual height of the bathhouse, I believe, and I could be wrong, but from what I can see, the bathhouse height at that time, way back then, was taller than the proposed facility with the little cupola on top as well. Some of the area that had disappeared is due to erosion, itself, but there's always a walkway there. So most of the issues that were put on hold were questions that the contractor, the engineering company, basically just JF, which just has to bring some answers to. But there was nothing there at that particular meeting that was going to affect the actual project going forward at all. It was just simply things you had to iron out, and I don't believe there's anything there that actually stops anything. So just let people know that that's what the conservation hearing was for. The other issues have already gone into court. They've already gone into basically to the Mass House and Senate for approval for all these projects. People keep saying that the town did this wrong, that wrong. And also, I feel really bad because we have a citizen in town, which is David Warr, who was a teacher here for years, and he's the outstanding member of the Warr family, who was responsible, that family, for the original development of Onset. And he was basically said that he had no right to sign off or do anything at all, and that's not the case. When the town tried to lease the property originally, we were told by the state, we don't own it, we can't lease it, we're a trustee. So Mr. Ward did have to sign some agreements in order to have that happen. But I feel very bad because David is very active and has always been very pro for the town, and to sit there and people that sit there and blog about him was really not nice.
Yeah, further in that regard, if people are actually interested in knowing what the actual legal status of that land is, I'm actually going to be doing a show with WCTV down actually in Onset with Mark Rasmussen next Wednesday. Of course, it gets shot that day and then they have to edit it and blah, 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 so I don't know exactly when it's going to come out. But I will be talking about the decree. We're fortunate that WCTV actually agreed to film on location, because I thought it would be helpful to actually point around and say, this is why they did this and this is why they did that back in 1915, when the underlying court case came out, and then the decision eventually came out in the form of a judgment, which was the decree in 1916. So I think it'll be very, very interesting and very educational. I think people are sometimes getting their information about the bathhouse from, let's just say, the wrong sources that don't have the capacity to analyze the legal documents.
I'll make one more comment. Usually I'm fairly quiet most of the time. There was an article, I think in maybe Facebook rather than the Wareham Week, about the flooding on Route 6 and 28 by the 99 restaurant, with a lot of comments about, the town doesn't care, the selectmen don't do anything, et cetera, which is a common lament we hear all the time. This project has been going on for probably close to 20 years. We've had people for it, against it. And the actual project, if you look at the engineering, the issue of the flooding is taken into account. There's a turnaround plan for that area, and there's a drainage program planned for that water basically to drain into, I think it's called Dick's Pond, to take care of that whole issue. But again, we have people that put stuff out there with no knowledge at all, but they like to make noise. And so that's really taken care of. We are fighting with a small group of people who keep trying to stop the project at all costs. And I feel bad because you have 150 accidents a year. Every once in a while, someone gets killed. And this board has to do its best for the whole town. And we've supported this project completely for the last 6 or 7 years. Go ahead and get this project done. We know this is going to affect businesses along 6 and 28 during the year to year and a half time the construction is done. We've asked for mitigation if possible to help out. But the bottom line is we have to do what's best for the town overall long term. Projects like this that have been done in other areas, the property after the project is done and in place for a year or two, the land values all have gone up, and the businesses not only that have survived, they've increased in value. So as much as people think they were anti-business or we don't care, that's not the case. At the end of the day, we do care about our citizens traveling down Route 6 and 28 and have to worry about someone taking a left-hand turn in either direction, cutting in front of them and having a serious accident. So this is something that we're not giving in very easily, because I think this is extremely important to the citizens of Wareham. Thank you. Go ahead, Patrick.
All right, so we get minutes. I move we approve the minutes of the regular scheduled Board of Selectmen's meeting for February 6, 2018. Everybody was present except Mary.
Second.
Motion by Patrick, second by Tony. Any questions on the board? None heard. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Okay,
401.
and Peter has the next set.
My mic on. Move that the board approve the meeting minutes from July 24th, 2018, as presented.
Second.
Motion by Peter, second by Tony. Any questions from the board? Was anybody absent there?
Patrick was, that's why I'm doing the motion. I was clerk pro tem.
Okay, never mind. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
I abstain.
401. Okay. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Peter, second
Second.
by Mary. All in favor?
Aye.
500. Good night, Wareham.
See you August 20th.
Okay, so there's that extra page.